Good morning. Welcome to Morning Special. 여러분 안녕하세요. 9월 20일 금요일 최수진의 Morning Special입니다. It's the start of a wonderful day, and as most people would say, TGIF. But to truly make it live up to its name, a great day can't start without a proper good night's sleep. 혹시 자도 피곤하신가요? 수면 장애가 혹시 있으신가요? 바쁜 일상생활에 쉽게 공감할 수 있는 수면 장애. 네, 잠을 자고 일어나도 피곤함을 느끼게 하는 수면 장애로 연간 57만 명이 병원을 찾는다는 조사 결과가 나왔습니다. 수면 장애 증상에는 불면증, 기면증, 수면 무호흡증 등이 있는데요. 2014년 42만 명이었던 수면 장애 환자 수가 5년간 37%나 증가했다고 합니다. 편안한 잠, 숙면을 취하기 위해서 전문가들은 15분 이상의 낮잠 피하기, 일정한 시간에 일어나기, 또 술, 담배, 커피 피하기, 그리고 잠들기 2시간 전 온욕 등을 추천하고 있는데요. 청취자 여러분, 오늘 금요일입니다. 월요일부터 축적된 피로로 일어나기 싫다, 잠을 더 자고 싶다 이렇게 느끼시는 분들 많으실 텐데요. 편안한 잠, 숙면을 취하기 위한 여러분만의 비법에는 어떤 것이 있을까요? Well, as they say, every great day starts with a great rest, or at least our staff on the show, who definitely know about starting the day early, will say a great night's sleep makes all the difference. Well, with that in mind, let me give you today's quiz question. What's another popular phrase for to sleep? Is it 1번, to hit the hay, or 2번, to hit the sun? 오늘도 청취자 여러분의 많은 참여 기다리고 있습니다. 퀴즈 정답 보내주신 분들 중에 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 저자극 순한 비누 보내드리겠습니다. 또 여러분의 소식과 소감, 그리고 방송 중 궁금한 질문 있으시면 보내주세요. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045고요. 무료 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. Okay then, let's kick off today's show with today's global headlines. 세계 각국 언론사들의 어떤 헤드라인이 올라왔는지 살펴보는 시간입니다. Touch Global Headlines.
The 17th typhoon of the season, Tapa, has formed in waters southeast of Okinawa.
일본 오키나와 남동쪽 해상에서 제17호 태풍 타파가 발생했습니다.
The OECD has released its lowest growth forecast for the world economy since the Asian financial crisis.
올해 세계 경제가 금융위기 이후 최저 성장률을 기록할 것이라는 분석이 나왔습니다.
At least 5,000 pigs have been culled to stop the spread of African swine fever.
아프리카 돼지열병으로 살처분된 돼지 수가 5천 마리를 넘어섰습니다.
Houthi rebels in Yemen have reiterated that they were behind the drone attack on Saudi oil facilities.
예멘 반군이 사우디아라비아의 핵심 석유 시설을 자신이 직접 공격했다고 거듭 주장했습니다.
Two short peptides that could potentially treat Alzheimer's disease have been discovered.
알츠하이머병 치료 효과가 기대되는 신종 펩타이드 2종이 발견됐습니다. And for the headlines and more, I'm joined by Steve. Good morning, Steve.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday, TGIF.
Do you feel different when you wake up on Friday morning?
I think I do.
Right?
Do you?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although today, if I'm honest, it feels like Tuesday because I only started here yesterday.
Right.
So
and then you get the next day off after Tuesday.
So I don't have exactly that Friday feeling just yet, but I do think that when Friday rolls around and we get out of, even from the point when we get out of bed in the morning, you just have that extra bounce in your step, right?
I know. I don't know if it's a psychological thing or if it's really because Fridays are so great.
I think it's totally psychological because you have one more day of work until the weekend comes, yeah? How you doing today, all right?
I'm doing very well, yeah. It's great to have you back. For those of you who just tuned in today and are thinking, what's going on?
Yeah.
Steve Hatherley joined us from yesterday, and it's just wonderful to have you here. Yesterday, our board just actually blew up with so many messages.
I do want to say thank you. Yes, after I got home after work yesterday, I had a look and there were a lot of messages that came in, tons and tons of messages that came in from our listeners saying welcome back to the show and they were happy and that really made me feel really nice. So thank you very much for that. Although yesterday, I don't think we mentioned it. I don't know if you did or not. I didn't.
What?
I'll be here every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in case people were wondering if yesterday was a one-off,
Nope.
I'll be here from now on doing the news in the morning.
That's right. And on Wednesday, when it was Walter's final day, he actually gave a hint as to who would be taking over because he said, I believe our listeners will be super happy with our new guest.
Yeah.
And apparently that was the first letters of super happy, SH,
Oh,
was an indication to you.
I listened to that show and I did not catch the clue.
Nor did I at first, but then later on, Walter told me, did you get it? Super happy? I'm like, no.
Well done, Walter. Once again, good morning. And good morning to our listeners as well. We hope your day is off to a good start.
Yes. Well, it is a Friday morning. TGIF to everyone out there. If you have any tips on how to get better sleep, let us know. Do you have any tips yourself?
Oh, I probably need tips more than I can give tips. Do you go to bed super early?
I don't, although I should, shouldn't I?
know. And with this new morning schedule, I'm going to try to get myself in bed earlier than usual. But typically for me, it's somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m. that I'll go to sleep.
What?
Yeah, it's late. Now, don't feel too sorry for me because I do have a nice nap in the evening. So that adds on to that sleep hour total, I guess.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised there. All right. 자, 여러분만의 숙면을 취하는 비법이 있으시면은 알려주세요. 또 오늘 퀴즈 정답도 보내주시고요. 이동일 님이 안녕하세요. 최수진 선생님. 7074회 모닝 스페셜 참석해요. 라고 보내주셨습니다. Has it already been 7,074 episodes. It seems like just yesterday we had the 7,000th
Exactly.
episode.
Oh, it's already 74 since we had that anniversary show.
Oh my goodness, yeah. 2 months and a bit more than that.
Goodness me. And this person has been listening, Mr. Lee has been listening since the 7,000th special.
And he also came to our open studio on the Monday, the day of the 7,000th.
Oh, yeah.
I got to see him.
Is
as
that the
well.
one that Greg came to sing at?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Oh, amazing, huh?
네, 이동일님, 우리 오픈 스튜디오 할 때도 오셨잖아요. 제가 잘 기억하고 있습니다. 감사합니다. 고경숙 님이요. 멋진 날 모스 스페셜, 모닝 스페셜과 함께 TGIF라고 보내주셨고요. 전수경 님도 Good morning, 최수진 선생님, 그리고 스티브 선생님. 오늘 두 분 다 흰 옷 입고 오셨네요. Yeah, we're both wearing kind of the same shade.
Are we matching today?
White and sort of cream-ish,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. Should I continue on with that? I know Walter did that. Good morning.
네,
Can if you like.
보내셨습니다. 전수경님이 감사합니다. It is a good morning to everyone out there, of course, and thank you for your messages. Keep those coming in. We have prizes to give out, so like I said, tell us what you think the answer to the quiz is. And if you'd like to check the headlines once more, you can do that free of charge on our website. 모닝 스페셜 홈페이지에 들어가셔서요. 조금 전에 읽어드린 헤드라인 다시 무료로 들으실 수 있습니다. 많은 이용 바랍니다. Let's go over the headlines.
Good Friday morning. The weather is beautiful outside in our neck of the woods right now, but maybe not so much for the weekend. The 17th typhoon of the season, Tapa, has formed in waters southeast of Okinawa.
그렇습니다. 일본 오키나와 남동쪽 해상에서 제17호 태풍 타파가 발생했습니다.
Down in the Philippines, I think they were calling it Nympha, tropical storm down there. When it got up to Okinawa, then it turned into a typhoon, and now it's coming towards our country here in Korea. Although we were looking at the trajectory of the storm, Sue and I, before the show, and it looks like it's going to be headed between Jeju Island and the southern parts of Korea. So us up here in Seoul maybe won't experience the worst parts of it, but if you are a resident of the southern parts of the country or Jeju Island, then you might want to batten down the hatches for the weekend.
네, trajectory라는 것은 이 경우에 이제 태풍의 예상 경로를 뜻합니다. 지금 말씀해주신 대로 원래는 태풍이 아니었지만 이제 태풍으로 격상이 됐고요. 제17호 태풍 타파라는 이름으로 우리나라에 근접해 오고 있습니다. 지금 이제 일본 오키나와 남동쪽 해상에 있고요. As you said, it's going to affect the southern regions. We're expecting a lot of rain, I would imagine.
Yeah, with the previous storm that came, Lingling, we've experienced a lot of winds with that one, heavy winds, right?
Yeah, I saw a lot of branches breaking off.
Exactly.
It's horrible.
They say winds with Lingling, and for this one, Tapa, heavy rains.
Heavy rain.
Yeah.
네, 비가 많이 올 것으로 예상이 되고요. When can we expect these rains?
Over the weekend, I think. Jeju by tomorrow, although I think it's going to be the worst. They're expecting the worst in Jeju on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
네, 그렇습니다. 간접 영향은 이제 내일부터지만 본격적으로 비가 많이 예상되는 것은요. 토요일 밤, 일요일 낮 제주도에서 비가 많이 올 것으로 예상이 되고요. 남해안 그리고 남부지방에서 계속해서 일요일 그다음에는 이제 월요일까지도 비가 올 것으로 그렇게 예상이 됩니다.
Do you know where the name comes from, by the way?
I forgot. Southeast Asia somewhere.
They named it in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah, tapa means catfish and freshwater fish in the Malaysian language.
Interesting.
Yeah, cool, right?
Yeah,
So
all
now
these
you know.
typhoons have different names from other countries, and it's quite interesting.
They do, yeah.
All right. So everyone, please do stay safe, and of course, keep a watch out for the latest on that, because as of now, these are just forecasts, so we'll have to see where it goes and how it affects us.
Headline number 2, shall we? The OECD, not good news for the economy. The OECD has released its lowest growth forecast for the world economy since the Asian financial crisis.
올해 세계 경제가 금융위기 이후 최저 성장률을 기록할 것이라는 분석이 나왔습니다.
They're saying part of the reason for this, or maybe even a large part of the reason for this, is because of the trade war between the United States and China. But these are the lowest levels of projections in over a decade. The OECD, they were talking about this yesterday on Thursday, and they slashed their forecast. So I think in the beginning of the year, they had higher rates projected.
It was still above 3%.
Yeah, exactly. But now we're looking at 3.6% from last year to 2.9% this year. So that's under 3%. And then heading into 2020, they're looking at a 3% growth rate.
And is that the first time the figure has dropped below 3%?
In a decade, yeah, that's right. Ever since the financial crisis. So these are not good numbers for us.
네. 그렇습니다. 2008-2009 Asian Financial Crisis 이후에 3%대의 성장률 전망치는 이번이 처음인데요. 불과 5월 달까지만 해도 3%를 조금 웃도는 수준으로 전망이 됐었지만 이번에 어제 나온 전망치로는 올해 경제 성장률이 2.9%라고 해서 계속해서 경제가 어떤 타격을 입고 있다. 이렇게 볼 수 있을 것 같습니다. Of course, you mentioned the trade war between America and China. There's also the Brexit fears over in Europe as well. Things are just not looking all that stable worldwide.
You're absolutely right. And if you're wondering about the numbers for Thursday, for Korea, on Thursday, the OECD talked about that as well. The outlook for South Korea's economy this year is 2.1%. And again, that's for the same reasons that we just mentioned.
That's
and again,
down about 0.3 percentage points,
yeah,
I
because
think.
that was slashed as well. In May, they had come out with a higher projection. That was 2.4%. They've dropped it down to 2.1%.
네, 우리나라에 대한 경제 성장률 전망치가 OECD에 의하면은 2.1%로 떨어졌습니다. 지난 5월 달에는 2.4%였습니다. Let's go on to our next headline.
At least 5,000 pigs have been culled to stop the spread of African swine fever.
아프리카 돼지열병으로 살처분된 돼지 수가 5천 마리를 넘어섰습니다.
Yeah, we've been hearing about this in the news a lot recently. As a matter of fact, we're talking about the areas of Yeoncheon and Paju, and I believe that the government put restrictions on travel in terms of cars driving through the restricted areas. Right. I think there was a ban from 6:30 a.m. Tuesday morning until yesterday morning at 6:30 a.m. But unfortunately, sorry to interrupt, a lot of pigs have to lose their lives as a result of
Right,
this.
and so far, as you mentioned, 5,000 have been culled. It's the first time that ASF, or African swine fever, has been reported in South Korea.
You know, when I heard about it for the first time, and the first time that I heard about it was just a couple of days ago, it was a new term for me. I wasn't familiar with this.
Yeah, it's been spreading around Southeast Asia. North Korea has already seen cases of this, but it was not seen ever here. But now apparently have pigs that have ASF.
A really important thing that we have to mention is that this is not harmful to people. It's
Right.
not harmful to human beings. Yes, it is fatal. It is highly infectious for pigs. There's no cure currently available, and that is why the pigs need to be culled
Yeah.
as opposed to treated. But again, to reiterate that point, for people, it's no problem at all.
네, 인간에게 전염되는 병은 아닙니다만 이제 돼지 같은 경우에는 100% 치사율을 가지고 있기 때문에 일단은 어제 기준으로 5,000마리가 살처분됐습니다. And we're expecting more to be culled in the next few days, right?
5,000 now, up to 15,000? Is that the number?
I think that's the number I have, yes. 네, 앞으로도 10,000마리 이상의 돼지가 살처분될 것으로 보여지고요. And what's interesting is the way that these pigs are being culled. It's a bit different to the foot and mouth disease back in 2011.
Okay, animal rights are up in arms about this, or
yes.
were up in arms about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Back then, a lot of the pigs were buried alive because they ran out of
The gas.
CO2 gas or other types of medication that would put the pigs down.
Well, I think the goal whenever this becomes necessary, because obviously nobody wants to do this, the goal is to do it in the most humane way possible
Yeah.
to end the animal's life. And that's why animal rights groups were upset about that in the past, and hopefully this time around they don't have reason to be.
네, 그렇습니다. 2011년에 구제역 발발 당시에는 그 살처분 생매장이 된 돼지가 상당히 많았습니다. 안타깝게도. 그런데 이번에는 2013년에 동물보호법에 따라서 반드시 동물들이 스트레스 없이 살처분돼야 된다라는 법이 통과가 됐었기 때문에 이번에는 CO2 가스를 사용해서 안락사를 시킨다고 합니다.
Yeah, and I did read in the government's warning that you do not have to be careful about eating pork,
okay.
pork-related products.
good
That's
to know.
not a concern at all.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go on to our next headline.
Houthi rebels in Yemen have reiterated, there's that word again. That's the second time we hear that this morning. They have reiterated that they were behind the drone attack on Saudi oil facilities.
예멘 반군이 사우디아라비아의 핵심 석유 시설을 자신이 직접 공격했다라고 거듭 주장했습니다.
Right, so these Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, they claimed responsibility. They reiterated their claim on Wednesday. And usually when you make a claim, you don't have to reiterate your claim.
You say, I did something bad, and people will say, oh, I see.
People tend to believe you.
Not the case here.
Yeah, so a Houthi spokesman also threatened to target the UAE for its support of the Saudi-led operations in Yemen. But yes, it's interesting because the U.S. and Saudi officials, they say that the available evidence shows that it's not possible that the oil field attacks were launched from Yemen. So Yemen is saying, yes, we did this. Saudi Arabia and the United States are saying, no, you didn't.
They're saying Iran did it.
It's usually the other way around, though, isn't it?
It's an interesting dynamic.
There's an accusation, and then the country or the group says, no, we will not take responsibility for that. We're seeing the opposite here.
Exactly. In fact, Washington is saying the bigger country, the country that backs these rebels in Yemen, must be responsible for the bombings. But yesterday, Yemen put forth a lot of specific details about the drones that were flown and the technologies that they have. And they said, look at all of this information. It was us. We did it. And they went further and said, we are capable of blowing up other facilities, even in the UAE.
Is it about the capabilities of the drone strikes, or is it about, again, the trajectory of the...
Possibly, but if you look at the trajectory and the distance, actually, between the oil facilities and Yemen, it's actually further away from Yemen than it is from Iran.
Okay.
So, given these circumstances, geological, Saudi Arabia and America are saying it must have been Iran, but no, Yemen once again claimed responsibility yesterday.
The Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, he said that the Yemenis carried out the attack as a warning to Saudi Arabia over their involvement leading a coalition fighting with the Houthis.
네, 예멘 그 반군이요. 어제 우리가 그 사우디아라비아의 아람코 석유 시설을 공격했다. 라고 다시 한번 주장을 했습니다. reiterate라는 게 다시 주장하다라는 뜻이 있거든요. 그렇지만 지금 사우디아라비아도 그렇고 미국도 그렇고 믿지 않고 있습니다. 이건 이란의 어떤 행동일 것이다라고 하고 있고요. 예멘은 구체적으로 어떤 드론이 사용이 됐는지, 어떤 기술을 가지고 있는지를 어제 밝히면서 앞으로는 UAE도 공격할 수 있다라고 얘기를 했습니다. Alright, but back in 2017, there were some bombings from drones in the UAE, which back then the Yemen also claimed responsibility for.
And at the time, the UAE said, no, you didn't do this.
No, you didn't do it.
So this seems to be their relationship.
Yes, we'll have to see what happens there. Going on to our next headline.
Really exciting news, potentially. Two short peptides that could potentially treat Alzheimer's disease have been discovered.
알츠하이머병 치료 효과가 기대되는 신종 펩타이드 2종이 발견됐습니다.
Yeah, so this happened, yay, in Canada, University of Alberta, researchers that brought them one step closer to what they say could be an effective treatment for Alzheimer's disease. So this is building on research that they had done in the past. In the past, they had isolated individual fragments of a string of amino acids called AC253.
That's right.
But with that AC253, one of the big developments here is that needed to be injected. When they were doing their tests on lab mice, it needed to be injected through a needle, I assume. But now one of the big steps in their advancements is it could be ingested orally through a drug in the future. That's one of the big steps forward.
네, 알츠하이머병 치료제를 위한 움직임이 계속해서 있는데요. 굉장히 큰 발견이 있었다라는 게 이번 소식입니다. 기존에 있었던 AC253라고 하는 이 화합물 같은 경우에는 이제 주사로 보통 투여를 했었는데 뇌까지 가는데 시간이 많이 걸리고 또 여러 가지 부작용이 있었다고 합니다. 그런데 이번에 발견된 신종 펩타이드 2종은 이제 생쥐에다가 실험을 해보니까 직접 먹으면서, 그러니까 경구용이죠. 훨씬 더 빨리 뇌까지 도달하고 그다음에 이런 여러 가지 역효과들이 없는 것으로 일단 실험상 나타났습니다. So that means they're going to develop this into a possible treatment?
Yeah, so the next step for the University of Alberta researchers, they're going to find out the toxicity of these new peptides.
Okay.
And if they pass that test, then the peptides will move on next to clinical testing. That means human volunteers will be testing the drugs. And of course, as we know, Alzheimer's is notoriously impossible to treat. So if this is, even if it's a small step, and it sounds like a big step.
Yeah.
And even if we are a long time away from finding an actual cure, this could potentially be huge.
맞아요. 그래서 과학계에서는 이 알츠하이머라는 퍼즐의 한 조각을 찾았다라고 얘기를 하면서 앞으로도 이제 다른 실험을 통해서 개발을 할 예정이라고 합니다. Well, those were our headlines this morning. Let's take a breather and remind our listeners of the quiz.
Want me to do it?
Yep.
Okie dokie. Here's your quiz question for this morning. You're going to listen to options number 1 and number 2. Here's the question. What's another popular phrase for to sleep? Is it to hit the number 1, hey, or number 2, sun? Once again, what's another popular phrase for to sleep? Number 1, to hit the hey, or number 2, to hit the sun.
네, 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시고요. 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 저자극 순한 비누 보내드리겠습니다. Well, it's time to listen to the Zombies for our first song of the day today. We'll be back with your messages and also our news-focused stories. This is Time of the Season. You're listening to Morning Special on this Friday, TGIF. Let's take a look at your messages. 박보미 님이요. 아기 키우느라고 누가 어버가도 모르게 잠들어요. I can't read this morning. So this listener says, because I have a kid, I don't need any tips or ways to fall asleep. I just fall asleep.
You have a human alarm clock.
You do.
To let you know when to wake up and when to get out of bed and things like that.
And you're just always tired when you have kids.
Well, that's what they say, isn't it? I mean, I don't have children, but I've heard from my friends, when the baby sleeps, that's when you sleep.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, actually, because when the baby sleeps, from my experience. You're like, freedom! And you want to do something, but then you realize, no, if I don't sleep now, I'll never sleep.
I heard a comedian talking about, you mentioned the word freedom with your children, right? I heard a comedian say this, and it made me laugh. He said, one of my favorite moments is when I go grocery shopping with my daughters, and when we come out to the parking lot, and then on the right side of the car, I put my daughters in the car, I put my groceries in the car, and then walking from the right side of the car to the left side of the car is like a little vacation.
Oh no, that's so sad.
And just before I open the door, I go, and then it's back into the craziness again. Dad!
I can understand that. I can relate, actually. So, I mean, it is a lot of work. As lovely as kids are, but it's just a lot of work.
That's what all parents say. Of course, I love my children to death, but.
Exactly. So this listener actually goes on to say, I used to have insomnia, but now I don't. So that's good.
Children can be a cure for insomnia.
네, 문채원님은요, 저는 원래 잠이 많아서 대체로 잘 자는 편이에요. 그런데 잡념이 있을 때는 잠을 잘 못 잡니다. 마음을 편하게 먹는 게 숙면에 도움이 된다고 해요. Yeah, when you have a lot on your mind, obviously you can't sleep well.
Of course, if you have too much to think about, that'll keep you up at night.
Absolutely. What do you do when you have something on your mind?
I think the best thing you can do is try to get your mind off of that thing, right?
Again, easier said than done.
True, but maybe turn on a drama.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe read a book.
Yeah,
I mean,
get
just
yourself distracted.
Refocus your thoughts, I guess, and try to distract yourself from the thing that is distracting you, which is kind of ironic, I suppose.
맞아요. 저도 이런 적이 있었는데요. 다른 데다가 좀 관심을 빨리 돌려서 잘 수 있도록 노력을 할 필요가 있더라고요. 제 경우에는 밤새 보니까 참.
Wouldn't it be amazing, though? If you could just, like a light switch, or like a robot, and just
fall asleep.
just power down and you're asleep right away. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That might be the reality in about 100 years' time. Who knows?
Well, you and I, or at least I won't be here.
I won't be around either. 네, 로사머라다님이요. 불면증이 있는데 헬스장 가는 거랑 또 걷기 연습을 했더니 잠이 잘 옵니다. 많이 움직이면 불면증에 도움이 되는 것 같아요. Working out has helped me to fall asleep better, says our listener there.
Yeah, I typically like to exercise at night.
Do you? Before you go to bed?
As opposed to in the morning. Not right before I go to bed. I should say in the evening, around 8:30 p.m.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned to you before, I usually sleep between midnight and 2. So maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe I'm exercising too late. It would probably be better for me to exercise early in the morning, but who wants to go to the gym in the morning though, right?
I know.
Well, good for our listener, though. You know, whatever works getting you to sleep, then that should do it for you.
Absolutely. 겨울바다님이요. 안녕하세요. 저는 숙면을 취하고 싶을 때 앱을 깔아놓고요. 빗소리를 들으면서 잡니다. An app with raindrop sounds. I love that.
I have the same thing.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. It's this amazing thing. I forget the name of it right now, but I believe I can tell you later because it's free to download. But it has these amazing sounds like the ocean or firewood.
You could meditate with that.
Crackling.
Yeah. Oh, I like
raindrops on a window, wind or a thunderstorm, something like that. You can set your own settings too to whatever you like. Yeah.
Okay.
I use that sometimes.
That sounds like a good idea. Well, thank you all for your ideas on how to get better sleep. I'll try that tonight and let you know later on. 네, 계속해서 사연 보내주시고요. 퀴즈 정답도 보내주세요. 저자극 순환비누 총 5분께 1부 끝날 때 발표해서 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. Well, let's look at our news focus stories in the meantime. 첫 번째 뉴스 포커스입니다. 도널드 트럼프 대통령은요, 현지 시간 18일 신임 백악관 국가안보보좌관으로 오브라이언 특사를 임명했습니다. 트럼프 대통령은 존 볼튼 백악관 국가안보보좌관 경질 후 8일 만에 오브라이언 특사를 새 국가안보보좌관으로 임명한 건데요. 오브라이언 특사는 트럼프 행정부에서 네 번째로 임명된 국가안보보좌관입니다. Let's listen to the story.
U.S. President Donald Trump has appointed Robert O'Brien as new national security advisor to replace John Bolton. Currently heading hostage negotiations at the State Department, Robert O'Brien has had a lengthy career in foreign policy, working for both main U.S. parties. Serving as Mr. Trump's fourth national security advisor, Mr. O'Brien will be tasked with tackling everything from immigration policy to heightened tensions with Iran.
So it's been, just over 2 years since President Trump became head of the United States.
Correct.
And this is the fourth
Also correct.
national security advisor that's been named. Tell us about Robert O'Brien.
Well, he's had a long career in politics, bipartisan politics, you might say, because he's worked in foreign policies for both main U.S. parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. And as we were chatting during the song break, what they say about his personality is that he's relatively easy to get along with. And I think that was part of the reason for the replacement of John Bolton, is that he and President Trump didn't see eye to eye or didn't agree on a lot of issues, maybe butting heads. But with Mr. O'Brien's personality, he's more agreeable. Not to say that he's a yes man, but just easier perhaps to get along with.
Well, let's look at what it says here. He has been appointed. What does it mean to be appointed?
This is a term that we're going to hear a lot when we're talking about jobs. Now, for me to be appointed into a position, then it typically has to come from someone else. Sue has to appoint me. I cannot, maybe I can, but it's not.
Appoint yourself?
Yeah, we don't hear it usually, right? I appointed myself into the position. But yeah, Sue could appoint me into the position of news guy on Morning Special. And in this case, U.S. President Donald Trump, he is the person that chose or appointed Robert O'Brien for the position for the new job.
네, 지명하다라는 뜻의 appoint가 여기서 쓰였고요. Trump has appointed Robert O'Brien 이렇게 나와 있습니다.
It's almost like if you want to think of the image of pointing at someone, like you're going to do this job, right? So you're pointing at someone. Of course, that's not the way you do it, but that image might help you remember.
Yeah, and he's going to get the job because you don't need confirmation for this particular position.
Excellent point. When you are appointed, it's not a job interview.
Yeah.
You are given the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So currently heading hostage negotiations. He has a lengthy career in foreign policy.
That's right. So lengthy is a fancier way to say long, but we can use this in casual conversation as well. Let's say that you and your husband or your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you have a long conversation about your relationship. Right? Husbands and wives, should we have children? And you don't talk about it for 10 minutes. You don't even talk about it for 15 minutes. You talk about it maybe for 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's called a lengthy conversation.
Lengthy 그러면 뭔가가 아주 길다라는 뜻이죠. 그래서 lengthy career라는 것은 아주 오랫동안 이 일을 해왔다라는 뜻이고요. You have a lengthy career in broadcasting.
It is a lengthy career, that's right. Sometimes when we go to the airport and we fly somewhere, we get a connecting flight.
Yeah.
And you have a layover. It's not a 20-minute layover. It's a 7-hour layover.
That's a lengthy layover.
That's a lengthy layover, yeah.
네. And it also says here that he will be tasked with tackling everything from immigration to heightened tensions with Iran.
Yeah, again, going back to
our headlines there.
what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Heightened tensions, don't need to spend too much time on this. This is a term that we see in the news all the time. Heightened means increased.
네, 고조된이라는 뜻이죠. Of course, his personality, we're talking about O'Brien here, can be interpreted in many different ways. He is very agreeable, and so it's quite obvious he's going to get along with Mr. Trump. But does that mean President Trump will have his own way? That's another issue, I think.
We are speculating here, but
Yeah.
there may be a reason he was appointed the position.
All right, let's listen to this story one more time.
U.S. President Donald Trump has appointed Robert O'Brien as new national security advisor to replace John Bolton. Currently heading hostage negotiations at the State Department, Robert O'Brien has had a lengthy career in foreign policy, working for both main U.S. parties. Serving as Mr. Trump's fourth national security advisor, Mr. O'Brien will be tasked with tackling everything from immigration policy to heightened tensions with Iran.
On a lighter note, can I just quickly read a message that one of our listeners has said?
Please do.
Are Robert O'Brien and Conan O'Brien related? I don't know. I don't know is the answer to that question.
I suppose it is a possibility.
Maybe not.
If I had to guess, I would say no.
I would say no as well.
But how about this?
But we don't know.
Wouldn't it be fun if President Trump appointed Conan O'Brien National Security Advisor?
That would be a whole different ball game. Okay, let's go on to our second news focus story. 두 번째 뉴스 포커스입니다. 일본의 경제 보복으로 한국 내에서 촉발된 일본 여행 안 가기 운동의 결과로 일본 관광지가 받는 영향이 확산하고 있다고 아사히 신문이 보도했습니다. Let's listen to the story.
The results of the Japanese government's decision in July to tighten export controls to Korea, as well as its decision to remove South Korea from a list of nations receiving preferential trade treatment, are now starting to roll in. Figures released by the Japan Tourism Agency on September 18th showed that the number of South Korean tourists to Japan in August plunged by 48% over the same month last year to 308,700. The sharp dip in tourism is also shaking broader areas of the domestic economy as well, as food exports to South Korea fell by 40%.
네, 우리나라의 일본 여행 안 가기 운동의 결과가 이제 그 면모를 드러내고 있다라는 내용이고요. Now the results of this are rolling in. That's basically the core of that first sentence there.
Yeah, I mean, when this happened back in July, and I think we all have people around us who made the decision, I'm going to stop buying Japanese products. I'm going to cancel my vacation to Japan, or I'm not going to travel to Japan at any time in the near future. We didn't really know at that time what the results would be.
Right.
But now those results are starting to roll in, meaning when something rolls in, think of a wave. Right? When a wave comes into the beach, first you see a little bit of the water.
Yeah.
Then you see more of the water, and then you see the whole wave.
Right.
So when results are rolling in, it means that you're starting to see, first you see a little bit of the information, then a little bit more, and then you see the whole picture. It's like election results. Right? You'll see that too.
Yeah.
With poll results, you know, the initial voting numbers, you'll hear that expression rolling in there as well.
네, 여기서 첫 번째 문장이 사실 좀 긴데요. The results are starting to roll in. 이런 구조를 띠고 있습니다. 그래서 결과가 이제 조금씩 보여지고 있다. 원래 roll in 그러면 뭔가 기어 들어온다라는 뜻이 있거든요. 그래서 이제서야 그 결과가 나타났다라는 뜻이고요. And looking at some of the figures here, figures released by the Japan Tourism Agency show that the number of South Korean tourists in August, and this is tourists to Japan, right?
Tourists to Japan, yeah.
Yeah, plunged to almost 50%.
Yeah, 48%. That's compared to the same month from last year, and the official number was 308,700. But plunge is a word that means to drop quickly. When you go to a swimming pool, sometimes people are timid. They'll dip their toe first to test the water. But children usually plunge themselves right into the water, and that means they dive right in, and that direction is down.
그렇죠.
Think about a plunger in your toilet too. The direction is down when you push down originally, right? So when numbers plunge, it means they drop, and they dropped a lot.
맞아요. 여기서 급락하다라는 뜻인데요. 수영장에서 우리가 풍덩 물에 들어가는 것도 plunge한다라고 하고 변기를 뚫는 그것도 plunge라고 합니다. So the sharp dip. A dip. What's a dip here?
A dip. Well, I just mentioned the word, didn't I? Because
did you?
because when I said dip your toe.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Dip your toe.
Yeah.
That means drop a little bit. But when we put the word sharp in front of it, then it means the same thing as plunge.
I see.
Because sharp means a lot or big or dramatic. So a sharp dip in tourism means a big decrease in tourism. But if we just say a dip in tourism, a dip in tourist numbers, that means they decreased by a little bit. So that's confusing. The word in front of dip kind of changes the meaning of it.
Right. And you find this word at restaurants as well, don't you, sometimes?
Chip dip.
Yes, exactly. 원래 dip라는 거는 이제 뭔가 이렇게 담그다라는 뜻이 있고요. 아니면 소스 같은 거를 뜻하기 때문에 식당에서도 보지만 여기서는 sharp dip는 앞에 나온 그 decline 내지는 plunge랑 비슷한 의미로 볼 수 있겠습니다.
You can use this to say swimming as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can
go
say
for a dip.
Go for a dip. Go for a quick dip. It means you're going to go for a short swim.
I'd love to go for a dip right now.
Oh, so would I.
그래서 여기선 sharp dip라는 것은 이제 하락을 했는데 그 앞에 sharp 때문에 급락이라는 뜻이 된다는 거 기억해 주세요. Let's listen to the story one more time.
The results of the Japanese government's decision in July to tighten export controls to Korea, as well as its decision to remove South Korea from a list of nations receiving preferential trade treatment, are now starting to roll in. Figures released by the Japan Tourism Agency on September 18th showed that the number of South Korean tourists to Japan in August plunged by 48% over the same month last year to 308,700. The sharp dip in tourism is also shaking broader areas of the domestic economy as well, as food exports to South Korea fell by 40%.
Well, our quiz was about sleeping. Could you remind our listeners of what it was?
I can. The question was, what's another popular phrase for to sleep? And your possible answers were, number 1, hit the hay, number 2, hit the sun, and the answer is of course...
Let's not give out the answer yet.
Oh, sorry. It's only my second day.
네, 정답은 조금 후에 발표하도록 하겠습니다. That's all right. That's all right. 정답 아시는 분은요. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시고요. 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 저자국 순한 비누 보내드릴게요. And if you'd like to join us on our Kakao Talk service, you can do that. Look up EBS Radio. 이렇게 검색하시면은요, 카카오톡 플러스로도 무료로 사연 보내주실 수 있습니다. Let's take a short song break. How does that sound, Steve?
Sounds all right to me.
All right. Well, Underneath Your Clothes is our next song. It's by Shakira. 자, 세 번째 뉴스 포커스 살펴보겠습니다. 인도네시아 의회가 이달 말 통과시키려고 하는 형법 개정안을 두고 시민사회, 인권, 여성, 언론단체 등 각계가 반대하고 나섰습니다. 개정안은 혼전 동거를 형사처벌할 수 있도록 해서 사생활 침해 논란에 불을 붙였고요. 대통령 모욕죄 등 조항은 민주주의를 퇴행시킨다는 우려가 제기됐습니다. Let's listen to the story.
Indonesia is set to pass a new criminal code that could outlaw living together outside marriage, extramarital sex, and insulting the president. If passed, adultery could be punishable by up to 1 year in prison, while couples living together outside marriage could be sentenced to 6 months, an offense that can be reported by a village head. Activists have called on President Joko Widodo to delay the bill, saying significant revisions were required.
New laws, but it looks like old ways in many ways.
It feels old, doesn't it?
Does a bit, yeah.
Indonesia, they are known to be a very conservative country. So we might say that this seems strict and old-fashioned, but for a conservative culture like Indonesia, perhaps this is not too far outside the norm, although activist groups, as I mentioned at the end of this, they are asking for very significant revisions. Even people in Indonesia are finding this to be too strict.
They are, yeah. And so Indonesia is set to pass this new criminal code.
That's right. Set means ready. You know, you might hear this in your, we have that, what do you call it, a field day? The elementary school.
In England, we call it Sports Day.
Sports Day. What do they call it here in Korea?
운동회.
운동회. Right. So if you're having a race, what will they say?
Ready, set, go!
Set is another word that means ready.
Oh.
It's
So it's
basically
like ready,
it's
go.
quite redundant, isn't it? Yeah. Or it means to get ready. We can use the expression, and we use it all the time. Are you all set? Are you all set? Or we shorten it and say, all set, and it means, are you ready? So if your children are getting ready in the morning to go to school and you ask them, all set? It means, are you ready to go? So in this sentence, Indonesia is set to pass a new criminal code. It means Indonesia is ready to pass a new criminal code.
네, 이제 통과될 예정이다, 통과될 준비가 됐다라는 얘기로 볼 수 있을 것 같고요. 지금 형법을 얘기하고 있습니다. It's a new criminal code. And if passed, adultery could be punishable by up to a year in prison.
Punishable means able to be punished.
Right,
What
right.
a great teacher I am, huh? It means that you can be punished for something. So we use this when we talk about crime. So if you get a speeding ticket in your car, then that is punishable up to 30,000 won fine. I don't know how much a speeding
I don't
ticket
know
is.
exactly.
Because I am an angel and I don't get them. Just
As
kidding.
am I.
So, what is the possible punishment for adultery? Adultery is punishable by up to 1 year in prison. And in the sentence, we find the possible punishment after that word punishable. So punishable by up to 1 year in prison.
Adultery is not punishable here in Korea because of a law revision a couple of years
Not
back.
anymore, but it used to be, right?
자, 그래서 간통이 punishable, 어떤 징역을 받을 수 있다, 형벌을 받을 수 있다라는 뜻이 되겠고요. Activists have called on President Joko Widodo to delay the bill.
Yeah, when you ask or when you call on someone to do something, you are asking them to do something. A student might say, my teacher always calls on me. And that means that the teacher always asks you to answer the question. Each morning here on Morning Special, we call on our listeners to answer our quiz questions and send in messages. We're asking them to do that.
어떻게 해줄 것을 요청하다, 부탁하다라는 뜻으로 activists have called on President Joko Widodo to delay the bill. 좀 더 지연해달라, 재고해달라라는 간청이, 부탁이 있었다. 이렇게 볼 수 있을 것 같습니다. Is this similar to call up and call for? Or are they all different?
Oh, I think they're different, and I think
Okay.
it depends on the context of the situation, yeah.
네, 비슷해 보이지만 전혀 다른 call on, call up, call for 다 구별해서 기억해 주시면 좋겠습니다.
I think calling for is the most similar of those other examples. Yeah.
Okay. Let's listen to this story one more time.
Indonesia is set to pass a new criminal code that could outlaw living together outside marriage, extramarital sex, and insulting the president. If passed, adultery could be punishable by up to 1 year in prison, while couples living together outside marriage could be sentenced to 6 months, an offense that can be reported by a village head. Activists have called on President Joko Widodo to delay the bill, saying significant revisions were required.
Well, giving out the answer to the quiz ahead of the allotted time can be punishable on our show, Steve.
I'm nervous to give it. You yelled at me last time.
So what is the answer to the quiz?
All right. Well,
Now's your time.
First of all, the question was, what's another popular phrase for to sleep? Was it number 1, to hit the hay, or number 2, to hit the sun? And the answer is to hit the hay.
네, hit the hay가 이제 잠자다라는 또 다른 뜻이 되겠습니다. 1번이고요. Congratulations, 백세리님, 1073 끝번호 쓰시는 분, 3591님, 그리고 카카오톡 플러스로 옥동원님, 그리고 김수혁님, 저자극 순한 비누 보내드리겠습니다. Alright, well, I believe you have one expression to go over. What is your expression of the day?
I mentioned it a couple of times on the show, I think. And I use this word a lot, actually. The word I'd like to share today, reiterate.
Reiterate.
Reiterate. So 4 syllables there. And what it means, it has a very simple meaning. It means to say again. But we use this when we want to go back and mention a point that we already mentioned.
Yep.
Because you want to reinforce the thing that you said, and you want to make sure that the person remembers what you said as well. It's a little formal. You can use this at work.
Yep.
If you're giving a presentation and you make a point And then later on in your speech, you would say, please allow me to reiterate and say again, blah, 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 blah. But make sure, here's the key. Make sure it's something that you already said.
Right.
If you didn't say it yet, you
And you're
can't
just iterating it.
You can't reiterate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
네, 되풀이하다, 다시 강조하다라는 뜻의 reiterate가 오늘의 표현이 되겠습니다. Can I just reiterate that you have to give out the answer to the quiz at the end of the show,
Not in the
Steve?
middle of it.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow for the Saturday show.
All right.
Have a great Friday, everybody.
Well, coming up in the second hour of Morning Special, we have the Power English team with Say What? And, of course, Andreas with Lifestyle Tips. Here's Stevie Wonder. I just called to say I love you.